What's up guys, Anders here with another video. Been a while since I took a little vacation and now I'm back with a new EU progression video. A lot to go over since a lot has happened since the last one. For example, Vesper is back. We took the old name and have started getting some people into the guild. We're about 33 people right now. It's pretty good. Node Wars, we've started doing that. It's been fun and also pretty difficult because Node War attendance has been an issue, but it's been pretty fun for the most part. Sea monster hunting, we've also started to do that as well. It's helped a lot with guild funds, and even after the nerfs, it's pretty good. You know, I can imagine it was a lot better back in the day. I kind of regret not doing more of that when it was at its peak. Progression wise though, I've hit 60 on my Ranger. I hit that long before I went on vacation. I love Ranger, but honestly, some matchups were severely difficult for me, especially Archer. So I moved on to Lahn, and I've just leveled her to 60 power-wise. We are at 237 AP with Kutum, and unfortunately, that's kind of where we're stuck at the moment. I'm not lying, guys. This Kutum has failed 29 TET attempts. That's 29 TET attempts. Probably my worst piece of gear that I've tried to enhance the TET ever. Pretty bad. My Kzarka has failed 9 times so far. It's stuck at Pry right now. My Dandy took about 12 attempts to get to TET. So average luck on that Dandy, to be honest. But the biggest hurdle for me is actually hitting Try. You know, guys, I'm pushing 70 going for Try alone. And I know that's crazy to think, and I would never really push it to 70 normally, but desperation, man. Desperation when you've failed 29 TET attempts, and even more going for Try. It's just, you kind of become a little crazy, and it becomes a little bit soul crushing, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. But that vacation helped a little bit. I came back refreshed, and we've gone up a lot of I think we went up like 20-30 gear score since we came back in terms of DP, because DP I wasn't really focusing too much into, but we got some Muskans, we got a TET Xerath. DP is looking pretty good right now. Frankly, with RAP, even at like 231, 237, depending on whether or not my main and my offhand are Pry or Try, it's good enough to start grinding Aakman, which is what I've started to do. I just started like maybe yesterday, and I checked it out for a little bit to see if I could really grind there safely, and it's been good. But I've also been grinding Pila Ku since I really like that spot. Ever since I got back from vacation, I went to Pila Ku, did about 6 hours, but I do need about 4 more hours to put out a video for that. So there's a Pila Ku grinding video coming out soon. Preemptively, I can say that Pila Ku is pretty mediocre, nothing crazy. I mean, you should be grinding there for the map pieces, and that's pretty much it. The lack of Marnie stones, I think, is what kind of hurts the place, because otherwise, XP is actually decent. It's not really that bad at Pila Ku. It's average, but I do enjoy grinding there, so it hasn't been completely terrible. A nice change of pace, honestly, from grinding Gahaz, Fogans, Nagas, you know, the typical spots that everyone always recommends, that honestly always recommend because they're just very good. I can't really grind those spots anymore. I just get sick of killing weak monsters over and over again, especially Fogans. I mean, speaking of Fogans though, I did grind there for the last 20% I needed to hit 60. While hitting 60 though, I did encounter a very stubborn player who just kept coming back only to die to me over and over and over again. I think I killed this guy 15 times before the declaration of war went through, and you know, I didn't mind going red. I think I went negative 800k karma, which is kind of fun. I haven't been red in a long time. I used to be a red Kuno back in NA, and that was a good few months of fun times before they changed the CC changes and all that shit. But things got a little interesting, honestly, when the deck went through. I basically just farmed the monsters at Fogans and made this guy that just kept coming back part of my rotation. Not a word was said either. Like, this guy never said a word. Never asked for a duel. Never, like, said, hey, you're in my spot. Like, spot taken was not said. So I thought, okay, maybe he's just, I don't know, dense. He just kept coming back. I was like, all right. Kind of weird. And then an archer comes in, and I'm like, oh, fucking archers, okay. Of course, he wasn't in the same guild, but I was already red by then. And if you've ever been red, people more often than not get excited seeing you red, and they go straight for you, they attack. So I ended up farming this archer on top of the other guy. I actually tried to stagger the kills so that they wouldn't know that they were both getting killed by me, but by the fourth kill or so, they figured it out, and it became a 2-on-1. And if you know anything about archer, fighting archers, I was an archer and a wizard from a Spanish guild. So 2 range classes got a little annoying to fight, and archers in general are kind of annoying to fight, and just because they have a lot of mobility and their range is insane. So the 2v1 was kind of not going in my favor after that, and I had to bail. I asked some guildies to help out, and 3 guildmates came, and we held Fogans while I grinded to 60 and above. Archer was pretty adamant about trying to kill me, by the way. He just kept coming back and going for me. That was the wizard, the guild that the wizard was in, the Spanish guild, did declare back on us, which I found interesting. I thought, maybe we'll see more of his guild coming and we'll have a nice GVG at Fogans, but no one came, and he eventually I think he switched channels, went AFK or logged off. I have no idea. He kind of just disappeared after a while. I mean, after like a good hour of just dying over and over again. This guy must have died like 25, 30 times. But since I was red and I think I had still like 700k karma left to grind, I went to Muskan, which is the bandit town near Fogans, and I did the Muskan story quest since I was there, and negative karma. It was pretty fun. Once I was done with that, I went to Manches and grinded my karma back. It took about 2 hours with the Tear of Repentance. That's a scroll you can buy for 200 loyalty that increases the amount of karma you get per kill. It's pretty good. Did have to go to Arsha though, because people are just mentally challenged sometimes. I had this guy who essentially went up to me while I was grinding manchas and said, get out of my server. And obviously I just killed him and then switched. I was like, okay, that was an odd interaction. But at Arsha it was, fine. No one was really there, and I was able to grind back my karma in like a couple hours. Speaking of that Spanish guild though, I did speak to their leader the next day. Wanted to just say, hey, I have no real beef with the guy dying over and over again. Some people will call that karma bombing, but I don't really call it that. Whatever, I don't care. It was shitty, but the leader kind of responded with something I want to talk to you guys about, because spot etiquette, a very controversial topic in the BDO community. There's kind of usually 2 sides of the topic, and I kind of want to hear your thoughts about it, and I'll give you my opinion. So this GM of the Spanish guild said, I never offered to duel the guy, so he was in his right to come back and die over and over and over to me, and I was the bad guy for killing him, and I should be ashamed at my behavior as a GM of a guild. Kind of a weird response, to be honest. As soon as he started talking like that, I kind of knew what kind of person I was dealing with, and I knew things weren't going to go my way. So I guess I'll go into how I approach contesting grind spots and my thoughts on the whole system in general. This will hopefully be useful for newer players who may not really know what the social norm for contesting in this game is. So basically, when it comes to spot etiquette, I guess we'll call it that, spot etiquette, everyone you talk to is going to give you a different answer or variance depending on whether they're primarily a PvP player in the game or primarily a PvE player in the game. The PvP player will either ask for a duel or just attack you straight up. That's how it goes. The PvE player will try to grind over your rotation or continue coming back if you kill him. Now, these are huge generalizations, I know, but the point is that both can be seen as forms of griefing. I get that. People being griefers, though, in MMOs has been a thing since the dawn of the genre. You should be a decent human being and not grief. Yeah, but no one can really do anything about it. Like, it's your prerogative to act the way you want to act in an online video game. The only time you're going to get in trouble with Kakao, since it's the publisher right now, is if you start typing some racist stuff in the chat and the guy reports you for doing that, which kind of makes sense, right? You're going against TOS, and at that point, you are supposedly rightfully banned for saying some horrible things. That's pretty much it. I personally don't think too much about it. If someone is already grinding there, I'll look for a second rotation. If that's also taken, I switch channels. If the second channel is full, I ask for a duel, or I just straight up kill them or attempt to kill them. You never know, because people can be really geared these days. And if I kill that player and they come back, I kill them again. And if they keep coming back, I'll even go red. I don't care. But I'll deck if I see the player is just going to be that stubborn, and just kill him until the deck goes through and move on with my life. But if I lose the fight, 2 or 3 times, I'll say, okay, you got me, and I move on. That's that. That's how I view losing to PvP, because I don't find it fun. I feel like I'm wasting my time. I don't want to waste my time just dying over and over again to someone I can't beat. So I just move on. That's pretty much it. A lot of people don't feel that way. A lot of people feel entitled that that spot is theirs, and I don't really agree with that. But I understand where they're coming from. It's unfair, but I don't know. There's nothing written in the rules of the game that support that. So again, it's really two sides that aren't necessarily right or wrong, but that's just how I view it. Grind spots are not owned by anyone. But if you're strong enough to grind there, then more power to you. The system, however, should be, like, this is fact. The system is stacked against you if you are the aggressor. So the karma system punishes you for PvPing without a declaration of war, which, by the way, I just realized, if you don't know what a declaration of war is, it's when a guild declares war on another guild. You both can attack each other without penalty of karma loss. It's simple as that. And otherwise, every time you kill a player, you're losing karma, and once you turn red, you get attacked by NPC guards at towns, and you can lose XP and crystals by dying to PvP. Nothing super major. Usually, if you're in the desert, being red is not a big deal, since the penalties aren't too terrible. Outside of the desert, can get a little problematic, but even then, it's not horrible. But aside from that whole thing, I just don't want to dive into too much on that, but that's my opinions on spot etiquette. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. I'll go on to talk about SMH. We've been doing that with some guildmates. It's not too bad, like I said. Even after the nerf, it's pretty good money, and makes me wish I had done more of it pre-nerf, but it definitely helps maintain the guild bank healthy. If you're new and in a guild, I figure I'll also explain a few ways you can make money for yourself and for your guild, because I've had a lot of questions about how do I make money in a guild? Why is the guild beneficial to me? How can I help the guild? So I actually had a player leave my guild recently because we won a node war and he demanded payment right away. I explained that it wasn't that simple, so I figure I'll take the time and explain how guild payments work as well in this episode. So let's say you join a guild, you'll see that you get a daily pay. It starts at 30k silver per day, and the more you level your characters, the more you do, the more guild quests you do, the more guild activities you get, and the max is 10k guild activity points. When you hit 10k, you can get a renewal of contract, but only once per 24 hours, and every renewal will give you about double pay, up to 5 million silver per day. That's really the simplest way to make money in a guild. Now, when you finish a guild quest, you can go to your guild mission tab and select collect wages. Half of the guild mission reward is going to be distributed amongst all the guild members that contributed to that guild mission. So doing guild missions is actually a really good way to make some money. You can make something like 35 million by doing 10 small quests every day. Of course, you can only do 10 quests as a guild every day, so you have to share that with other members who want to do guild missions as well, but it's decent income if you're just starting out. And when you start doing node wars, you will get paid a sum of money if you win a node. So we got paid 250 million silver for capturing that node, which, by the way, a huge thanks to the guild Zag for helping us out with that. That was really cool of them. Really appreciate it. That 250 million is immediately deposited into the guild funds. So if you have 31 members, your guild becomes a medium-sized guild, and you can now do weekly guild payouts. But there is one hurdle you have to go through. Weekly payouts require 31 full members. So if you've been in the guild less than 2 weeks, you don't count as a full member. You'll have a little green leaf next to your name and in the member list. So that's what caused the confusion to this particular player that left my guild. He didn't understand that we needed to wait 8 more days until we could do a payout, and he got mad. He was really toxic, and he left on his own accord. Now, sea monster hunting relies on this guild payout system as well. So killing monsters in the ocean drops guild fund items. So when you deposit them, you will get a larger share of the weekly payout, depending on how much money you've deposited into the guild that week. Now, the player that didn't get the whole thing ended up griefing some streamers and leaving our guild shortly after that. Now, he wasn't aware that we knew and that he got caught on stream griefing and wanted to join back after a few days, but that's not really the kind of person I want in my guild. It harkens back to what I was talking about etiquette earlier. He was in his right to act that way, but that doesn't mean I support my members griefing other guilds who are stronger than them. And honestly, my only guideline is to try to contest a few times and then switch channels, because anything more than that kind of makes you look, and the guild, kind of look bad. You kind of look like an idiot, in my opinion, if you just keep coming back to die over and over and over again. I just don't understand that mentality, and I don't really tolerate it in my guild. Now, if I get beat in a rotation, I told you guys I come back 2 or 3 times, and if I lose those 2 times, I just switch, because it's obvious I'm being outgeared or outplayed, and that's just okay. You just need to move on. I've had to actually scold one other member about not following this behavior and kind of being caught on stream griefing. I had all that whole thing happening, but in that particular case, he was just not aware that what he was doing was shitty. I mean, kind of silly to think about. Like, it should be innate to not do that, but ignorance is a very powerful thing. So ignorance of etiquette is a thing, and they're unofficial rules. So I get not knowing how to react or how to act in a certain situation. So I understood that, and there are social norms that we kind of place onto the game that the game does not explain to you, which is why I mostly give the benefit of the doubt. And I spoke to that particular member and I explained to them, they were wrong to act that way and not to act that certain way. And they haven't had an issue since. They said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. It won't happen again." And it hasn't happened again. So rational person, understanding that he was at fault and moved on. That's it. No bad blood between us at all. And that's that. And now that the BDO lesson is over, I feel like I went a little preachy on this episode. My bad. Let's talk about what we're going to be doing in the coming weeks. So I sold my 2 Trinarchs for 1 billion each about a couple days ago, since I'm moving to Aakman over Miramar grinding primarily. And the extra comma damage wasn't going to be beneficial. I bought a duo blue whale molar earring and enhanced that to try. And I bought a second try blue whale molar earrings, so I didn't lose any AP for selling the Trinarchs. Now, Tungrad earrings are obviously the next upgrade for that, but they're going to come in the future because they're very, very expensive right now. And I got my Dimtree to try, so that's huge. I did buy a Muskan, and probably going to sell that to buy a TET once I have a little bit more money. Depends on whether or not, if by that time I can afford a TET Kutum, because if I don't have TET Kutum by then, I'm gonna be extremely sad. I have a 96 stack right now going for TET Kutum. I'm gonna be clicking that stack about 2 to 3 more times and then leaving it for a TET accessory attempt. If we can get TET Kutum, we then have to go for TET Kzarka. But after that, once the weapons are done, I can either go for TET Basilisk or TET Crescent, and then they're really, really close for 261 AP, which is going to be huge, because more or less we've done some pretty good progress on this account, considering we just started this year, and it's been, 5 months, with about, I guess, a few weeks not of playing, so maybe 4.5 months with some shitty RNG lately. I mean, we started, if you remember the series, with some crazy good RNG, but that's the tables have turned. The tables have turned. I can't even get duo and try sometimes. But we'll see. I mean, after the 53 skulls we just got, I'm going to be pushing for 62 for that Kaposha earring. It's going to give me 2 more AP. I'll probably do a TET attempt on the Blue Whale Molar once I hit 62. Or sell it if I can get an upgrade by doing so, or I still just don't have a TET Kutum. I'll just sell the earring for and buy the TET Kutum. Which honestly, with my luck streak lately, it's very possible that by the time I hit 62, I still don't have TET Kutum. I hope not, but you never know with these things. Build wise, I just want to talk about a couple things. Why did I go Muskan over Uragon for now? Well, I've decided to just kind of go for like an evasion resistance hybrid build. I've had some decent success in one-on-ones with some tests with that. And honestly, right now, I'm just kind of just focusing on getting as much AP as possible. The goal still is to get 261 AP with Nuver. So I feel like if we can get a decent luck streak going, again, within a month or so, I think we're going to get there. Especially if I just start grinding a lot of Aakman. So making money wise, purely through grinding, honestly, not really doing a lot of life skills apart from SMH, and even then I'm not really getting payouts yet. We should be getting payouts in about a week or so. And Fogans was giving me about 50 million an hour at peak, which is pretty good, but more like 35 mil on average. I was getting pretty lucky with scroll drops there, to be honest. But again, it's very boring grinding weak mobs for me, so I've started moving towards Pila Ku, Sulfur, and Aakman for some grinds that require a little bit more than just one hit to kill the mobs. And in terms of helmet option is really kind of up to you. I'm using a Xerath helmet for the knockdown resistance, just because it's just really good. TET Xerath is about equivalent to a TET Gaiath in terms of stats. Of course, no HP bonus, but it's pretty decent. I got it for about 300 mil, so I'm pretty happy with that purchase. And again, kind of like the earrings, the helmet for the armor is kind of like the last piece you go for anyway. So getting a TET green item is pretty good, especially if you can get that to pen eventually. That's a pretty good helmet to have, especially if you're going to go hybrid down the road. And that's pretty much it, guys. We have a lot of changes coming these couple of weeks. Black Star is definitely on my mind, but I know I'm going to be honest, I feel like it's probably just out of our reach since it's going to cost way too much to enhance. And let me know what you guys thought about this video in the comments down below. A lot of PvP talk, a lot of, hopefully I didn't bore you with my lessons or opinions. So, oh, that was my phone. So I expect some people to, disagree with me. If you do, that's cool. Just try and keep it civil in the comments. And as always, if you haven't subbed, please do so. It helps out the channel a lot as we continue to grow. And make sure to click on that bell icon so you can get notified when I upload my next video, which should be the weekly update for this week. And then after that, I'm working on a gear guide, so that's going to be coming up next once Black Star releases, and we can kind of look at where Black Star eventually falls under. It's better than Kzarka, but not much. Depending on what enhanced level you're going to be taking Black Star, of course. And again, thanks again for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.